shot up. That is in. Burns the win. Have room to run. Also, this is champion. Toronto is both there. Henry is long running down. Walnut Grove.
It's been exciting. It's been intense. You guys have been competing. That's what it's all about. We got a lot of new guys. We got a lot of open positions. So we got a lot we need to find out, and we're just getting started. So we don't have a lot of answers right now, but we do have a good team. We do have a talented team. They're young, they're inexperienced, but right now they're flying around, and that's what it's all about.
It's kind of changed with your promotion to defensive coordinator. I know Ryan still plans on calling plays, but just kind of how's that kind of work right now?
So right now I gotta look more at what we're doing schematically in the back end, and just for myself, we have very capable coaches. Obviously, Coach Peter is very involved. We have 4 DB coaches, on staff. So those guys are doing a great job. They've always done a great job. I'm just learning for myself to try to learn more about what they do and how it ties into what I do. And that's a learning experience for me, something that I'm excited about. But not much. I'm still the D-line coach, and as far as I know in this league, if you're going to win, the D-line's going to do really well. So I still got to stay focused on what's most important.
How's that group improved? We saw some numbers take a step back. Of course, the Anthony Payne injury changed a lot for that defensive line early in the year. Just how's it look on the defensive line right now?
Right now, it looks really good. You mentioned the injury to Payne in the second game of the year. That was huge. I was giving the guys a hard time the other day that he only played 2 games and he had more sacks than most of y'all. So that was a huge loss. Obviously, losing Eric the year before was also a huge loss. But I went into recruiting to make sure that I got us enough guys, enough talent, enough depth so that we can sustain injuries like that going forward. Right now, Jalen Williams has done a great job. He's had a phenomenal spring. He's done a great job leading, great job getting better. I added a great running mate to him with Darian Smith. He's a transfer from Charlotte. Darian's come in, he's been a pro. He's come in with the right mentality, the right work ethic. He watches film almost as much as I do. He's a football rat. He loves the game, he studies the game. He's great to coach right now. Devin Gorey, he's coming off an injury from last season, so he didn't participate this spring. He's been fully cleared, he's healthy. We're getting him back into shape because it's been a long rehab. But I know what Devin can do. He's been able to finish games for us, second quarterback, and effective quarterback. So I think we got a really good rotation going with those 3 guys at the end position. At D tackle, Armand had a great spring. Armand Wallace. He's been a rotational reserve player for us over the last few years. He's taken his game to another level. He's very fundamentally sound. He knows exactly what I want him to do. He's been able to watch those guys for the last few years. And so is Allen Love. Both of those 2 guys are seniors and juniors. They're experienced. They know what this league is about. They know how I coach, what I demand. And they're setting a great example. Sterling Smithson, he went out for practice yesterday with a little minor injury, so we got to get him back out there as soon as we can. But this should be a big year for him as well. And we have some really, really young defensive linemen that I'm not going to say much about because I think you're going to see that we recruited really well on the defensive line, and those guys are the future. With Caden Weiss, a kid from Reed Springs, and Andrew Link, a kid from right here in town, Kickapoo High School. And then I got 2 young defensive linemen. One of them, his name is Tim Brantley from Texas. He's from the powerhouse out of Texas. He was a guy that really wasn't recruited very highly, but he's already probably the strongest, most explosive defensive lineman on the team already. So we're very happy to have him here. And the other one is Mitchell Tony, a kid from Kentucky. Same thing, the transfer portal and all these different things that are going on. High school kids are falling through the cracks, and I'm very happy that both have developed. They've been pleasant surprises, and I think you're going to like what they do in the future.
Coach, communication is such a critical part for defensive success. What kind of luxury is it to have some veteran guys on this team that you've been with, Coach Beard's been with, that understand your language, understand how the game needs to go in certain situations?
So that's a great point. Communication is one of our keys to this season. We call it absolute communication, and that's going to be crucial to what we do. We see a lot of different styles of play, not only from our offense, but from this conference. And you're right, we do have some guys that have been around, haven't started many games, but have all have experience, especially at the safety position with PJ and Todrick. They've been around Coach Beard, who is the coordinator, but also coached them at their position. They're going to do great at communicating in the back end and just shoring up a little bit of defense. And then Vaughn Young and Taj Chambers have both been around us for multiple years. They've played special teams. They've worked their way up. These guys have all made plays. We all had great springs. And honestly, they're going to need to lead us.
You're kind of a soft-spoken guy, but yet I know out there on the field things change a little bit. What is it like to have a unit on defense which is just, go 100%? What's it like to have those maniacs up there and kind of let them do the damage they get to inflict when your system's working?
So it's a lot of fun for me. I do a lot of my work through the week. On game day, I tell my guys, I'm your biggest cheerleader, man. We're going to be positive on game day. We're going to adjust to what happens. But I'm going to push them. I'm going to be all over them on every single detail throughout the week. Practice is hard. On games, we just want to have fun. And I want my guys to have fun on game day. No matter what the score is, no matter the situation, we just got to go out there and do what we practice to the best of our ability, and we'll live with the results.
Replacing Farron, just how's that process been, and trying to figure out who's going to be making a lot of those vocal calls for you guys?
So it's gonna fall on Bird, whose real name is Jared Lloyd, but he just goes by Bird.
Why?
But Bird is a redshirt freshman linebacker who, he played a little last year. He flashed at times last year, but he was a little immature. He was young. He's really taken on that role. He understands the expectation Coach Johnson had. Coach Johnson's the best linebacker coach I've ever been around. So I trust him to get him ready. He says those are the guys, those are the guys. Bird is his guy right now. He's done a great job. He understands exactly what we need him to do. And he's not going to be able to replace Farron just like that. Farron was a really, really good football player for us, played a ton of football, great leader, and honestly helped us win a lot of games. I think Bird is more talented. He's just not done it enough yet. And he's going to have Vaughn to lean on. He's going to have Tosh to lean on. And hopefully some of those guys up front that will help him not have to make every single call as he grows and learns. But we trust him. He's working hard, and like I said, he's really talented. We just need more reps.
Why is he Bird?
Well, I don't know. That's just his nickname. I couldn't tell you. I've never asked him. That's just with kids today. We kind of want to make them feel comfortable, especially coming from Florida. That's what you go by? All right, cool. We'll call you that. But that's just what all of his teammates know him as. I actually had to ask Vaughn before I came in here what his first name was. Last name was Lloyd, because I've seen it on his jersey, but I kind of forgot his first name because he just goes by Bird.
You talk about comfort. Obviously, the guys in Kansas are going to make sure you guys are as uncomfortable as you can be. So how do you teach these players, a little mix of veterans and young guys, how do you teach them to be comfortable in an uncomfortable environment? How do you guys simulate that?
Well, we got to be, we got to have great practices. We got to get uncomfortable in practice and get used to being uncomfortable. It's going to be a great environment. They have a really good football team. Their program is on the rise. There's going to be a lot of excitement with the quarterback they have and the offense that they have. We can't simulate it all, but what we can do is we can try to settle our guys down. There's going to be highs and lows in the game, as we all know. But with us having a lot of really, really young and inexperienced players, we just got to do what they can do. We don't want to go out there and try to do too much. That's kind of one of the tricks to defense is you don't want to be too simple, but you don't have answers on Saturday. You don't want to be too complicated, or you can't play fast. So you just gotta grow as the season goes. We don't want to go out there and do too much. We want to go out there and be who we are. We want to play fast, fair swarm, and we'll get better no matter the result.
For Roy, where does he kind of fit? Because we've seen him as an edge rusher here in town, just state's leading sacker, just listed as a linebacker. Just what does he project as? I know he has all his eligibility remaining, just a freshman, but just what's kind of his future position-wise?
So his future right now is an outside backer. We'll call that a different position in certain packages, but his role will be to affect the quarterback. We'll get him out there in a couple of variety of different ways of rushing the passer. That's what he's great at. That's what he's our best pass rusher this spring. So we'll continue to build off of that. But he's a very young player, like you mentioned. He's still got 5 years. He's still got a redshirt year. So we have to grow him slowly. We don't want to overload him. We don't want him out there thinking too much. We want him to just go do what he's always done best, and that's affect the quarterback.
Deep cornerbacks room, just and some different names in there, especially with Matre being gone. Just how do you kind of pick the two or the three kind of in this day of football? But how do you kind of pick them?
That's probably the toughest battle on this team. We're not bringing back much experience at the corner position. We had a couple guys that played last year, Donovan Clark, Jamal Murray. They're battling. I would say that we really have starters at corner. Multiple guys are repping and rotating. It's a very, very deep room. That was one of our emphasis on this past recruiting class, was to become deeper in the back end. We have more DBs on scholarship than we've had in the 3 or 4 years that we've been here. That's kind of the approach I wanted to take once I became coordinator. I told Beard we have to affect the quarterback and we have to be able to cover guys. That's the key. We've done a decent job since we've been here stopping the run. We know what this league is about, stopping the run, but you really, really have to put pressure on the quarterback position. You have to be able to cover some of these dynamic receivers that we see in some of the top teams in this league. We brought in a lot of DBs. We brought in a lot of defensive linemen because we think that's going to be the key. But I will call out Kalino Levine. Kalino is a junior college transfer from one, I think it's TJC in Texas. But he had a great spring. He's the start corner. He's the top corner right now. Very fundamentally sound. Watches film. Stops by our office probably twice a day. He's a great person, great kid. And he's becoming a leader. His playmaking ability is for sure there, and that's kind of what we really love about him. He's afraid. He's not afraid to go attack the ball. He's not afraid to be aggressive and challenge guys. He's our top guy right now. We have some other guys that have come in. We have a freshman from Arkansas, Floyd Williams. Floyd has done a phenomenal job right now of learning. And as we bring him along, the ability, the talent, it's all there. He's just, hasn't done it before. But the movement skills, kind of what the DB coaches have told me about him so far, he's going to be a guy that's going to really challenge for some reps. As we move along in camp, we have more evaluations, scrimmages, things like that. We'll be able to see if he can handle being the guy.
One last thing from me. You mentioned aggression. Going back 4 months to your spring game, there were at least 2 or 3 plays I remember seeing that you guys lit some of the offensive guys up. You guys love to tackle, obviously. How much fun is it to have guys that want to hit somebody hard?
So that was a bittersweet day for me. It was great seeing some of my D linemen play well, but I was actually on the other team, so I was watching my line get destroyed by some of those guys. So I was happy for them, but I was also trying to motivate the D line. I was coaching. We got to pick it up. Those guys are taking over. I was on the losing team in the spring game, but it's fun. It's kind of what we work for, and I'm really excited that we were able to go out there and perform. The biggest thing for us in coaching is we got to get guys to perform every day. We can't become complacent. We know what our standard is here. We know what the expectations are. We know what outside interest of our team and what we're going to do. We just got to keep a chip on our shoulder every day. We got to just keep that edge. Not go over the edge, but we really got to push it. O-line, D-line, linebackers. We got to be physical. It's a physical league. If you're not as physical as the other team, you really don't have a chance to win.
Coach, I think that's it for your questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.